and now.
Have you ever had the experience called deja vu?
Theoretically, but not consciously that I can recall.
You have never
maybe
experienced that sensation.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't really recall the real experience.
Oh, all right. But that is one representation of experiencing what you call past and future in the present. That's what that experience actually is. Because when you have deja vu, you know what is about to happen because you feel it has happened before. You are experiencing the idea of the timelessness all at once, that everything exists at once. So really, the more you live in the moment, the more you live in the present, the more you don't focus on the idea in a negative way of future and past, the more you will experience the timelessness of actual existence. The more malleable, plastic, and slippery space and time will become. The more synchronistic experiences you will have. Synchronicity is another symptomology of collapsing the idea of space-time into the now. Because everything is one. Everything is connected to everything else. Synchronicity is space-time's way of showing you that everything else. Synchronicity is space-time's way of showing you that everything is connected as best as it possibly can. Even though it may still be presenting it to you in a so-called linear fashion, one synchronicity after another, that is at least a more collapsed version of experiencing space-time, the experience of synchronicity itself, than a typical stretched-out linear format. Does that make sense?
But if this includes, for example, past lives, past experience?
Again, remember, there is no real past. There is no real future. Everything exists now. The analogy we often use is your own television set. If you are sitting down watching a TV program, you know that at the same moment there are still hundreds of other programs that exist at the same time. They're not really in the past. They're not really in the future. You may not be perceiving them because you are tuned to one particular channel. But if you change the channel, you'll see that another program exists at the same time as the program you were just watching. Reality is like that. All the lives, all the experiences are going on right now. The more you understand and wrap your mind around that concept, the more you will actually start to experience reality that way. Make sense?
Yes.
So, more analogies, the more symbols, the more analogies you can create to explain the idea of the simultaneity of existence to yourself, the more you can understand that construct of nowness holographically, the more you will actually start to experience your reality that way.
Makes sense. Thank you.
And, thank you. That's why we also use the analogy of saying there really is only one moment in creation, just one moment. What appears to you to be different moments is actually the same moment, but from a different point of view. It's all the same moment. There is also only one thing in creation. All of it. Just one thing. Experiencing itself as a multitude of things. But it's just one thing. Even physically, there is only one thing. We have explained this before by the concept we refer to in our reality as the prime radiant. Imagine. We know your scientists tend to talk in particles. Subatomic particles. Now, we know that it's not really a solid particle, but for the purpose of illustration, it will do. Imagine this. Imagine there is only one particle in all of existence, and there's nothing else. Just one particle. Because there is nothing else to relate to, the particle has no mass, and can move at infinite speed. It has no limitations. It has no barriers. There are no laws to govern it because it's the only thing there is. So it can do anything it wants. So if it can travel, this one particle can travel at infinite speed, that's another way of saying that that particle can actually be everywhere at the same time. You understand?
Yes.
So if a particle can be everywhere at the same time, it can appear to be multiple particles, but it's actually the same one particle. And everything that is made up of particles is actually made up of the same one particle, moving at infinite speed. So you actually are the other person's body. You actually are the chair. You actually are the light bulb. Because all those things, you are the star. You are the other planet. Because all those things are all made up out of the same one particle that everything is made up out of. So everything is here. Everything is now. Everything is one. Make sense?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you. The
But
more
I
you
have another
ponder
question.
that, the more you wrap your mind around that, the more you will start to experience that in your reality. Yes, continue.
And it's pretty much like a follow-up in terms
Yes.
of everything is one, all is one, we're part of one.
Yes.
But we have this illusion of separation.
Yes.
Can you help me a little bit in terms of how I can modify it or remove it if it's appropriate, or
Well,
how
you
I can
don't
better
really want to
understand it,
completely remove it per se,
but have ability to
or you won't
go
really
beyond that.
have an experience as an individual. Remember, all that is experiences itself in all the ways that it can. You, us, all beings and all things in creation are all the ways all that is has of experiencing itself. Even though you can have the experience of more oneness, you exist as an idea unto itself. So you, as an idea, no matter how much oneness you create yourself to experience, you will always experience yourself as you. Even when you become one with the one, you will experience yourself as the one. So you will still be you. Even when you are no longer a part of the one in experience, you will still experience yourself as the one. Does that make sense?
Yes, definitely.
Does that help?
But I was asking more in terms of practical application, in terms of, for example, feeling the trees and walls and go beyond that.
Yes.
How I can develop this?
Again, wrap your mind around the idea that you are one. Invent in your imagination ways in which to represent that to yourself more realistically. And use that imagination. That's what your imagination is for. Your imagination is keyed to you, to your frequency. Whatever methodology you come up with that allows you to feel more at one, use that. Use what your imagination comes up with. Your imagination is the conduit between your higher mind and your physical mind. Your imagination is the conduit of communication between the two. So let us say, for example, if you imagine, for you, if it feels right for you, that you can walk up to a wall, and if by putting your hands on it, that allows you to feel more at one with the wall, or if putting your tongue on it allows you to feel more at one with the wall, or simply imagining yourself passing through the wall and your molecules intermingling makes you feel more at one with the wall, or whatever idea your imagination comes up with that actually creates for you more of the sensation, more of the idea of being one with the wall, then that's the thing to imagine at that moment, whether you actually physically do it or not. Because the idea is that some of these things are not always relevant to experience literally, physically. Some of them are just things that lure you in a certain direction to get you to move in that direction, perhaps for other reasons. Sometimes the things that excite you just to get you to move in a certain direction, not because the thing itself must come to fruition in a physical way. Because your higher mind knows how stubborn the physical mind can be. So it will sometimes allow certain things to come to fruition when they are appropriate to do so. Other times, the thing that excites you will simply be a carrot to get you to move in that direction because that was the most important thing for you to do. So if you're excited about exploring this concept of oneness, act on that and use your imagination to explore it in whatever way, shape, or form your imagination feels most excited about doing so. And for that moment, that will be the right way for you. And it will enhance the synchronicity in your reality. For that moment, that will be the right way for you. And it will enhance the synchronicity in your reality to give you more experiences of that oneness in whatever way works best for you. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Thank you
So
very
you
much.
really need to let your imagination fly. You really need to act out on your imagination, too, in many ways. Many times we have suggested to many of you, when you talk about doing the thing that excites you, to mock it up, to create a facsimile of the reality you say you wish to live in. Literally build it up around you to the best of your ability. Have representations of it everywhere that you can. Paste it up on your wall. But very few of you actually take the step of making that physical realization, that physical symbology. You keep it very mental. Acting it out acts as the completion circuit. It grounds the idea and lets your physical mind know that it actually has something physical to respond to as a vibration that is more representative of that reality you say you prefer. It's training your physical body to respond to that physical reality by mocking it up and existing in that simulated environment. It doesn't matter that it's a simulation if it makes you feel like it's real. Make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.